What's up, everybody? My name is Shannon and I am still waiting for my Satyr, and today we are talking about Stain by A.G. Howard. So I was very interested in this book because it's a Princess and the Pea retelling, which you wouldn't really think needs to be retold, but when I read the inside cover of this book and I saw that this was going to be a land where we have these two kingdoms, one is an eternal night, one is an eternal daytime, and there's this fated prophecy where the prince and the princess would come together and reunite the sun and the moon. I was like, whew, okay, I'm here for it. I'm here for that dynamic. I'm here for these Hades and Persephone vibes. Let's go. And it's also really interesting because the prince of the nighttime realm is very much the embodiment of the sun, and the princess of the daytime realm is very much the embodiment of the moon, which was really, really cool. And where the Princess and the Pea elements come in is that A.G. Howard wanted to play with this idea of roses and thorns, and how a beautiful rose may be very beautiful, but it needs its thorns in order to protect itself. However, sometimes your rose can be stolen away and you become consumed by thorns. And she really plays with this idea with a lot of our female characters, but especially when it comes to our main character, Lyra, and her relationship with her aunt, and the way her aunt is very jealous of her, the way that she thinks that she has all of the power, she has the life that she should have had. What happens, and this is not a spoiler because the back of the book will tell you this, is that Lyra is cast out of the castle, she loses all of her hair, she loses all semblance of herself, she loses her memory, she loses her voice, and is now forced to live a life as a boy named Stain. And the way that all of this happens and the reasoning for all of this happening is very tragic and it's very heartbreaking, and it just felt very meaningful. There was a lot to be said here with how this happens. All of the traumas and all of the things that are done to Stain is very, very intense, and her relationship with her aunt is very fascinating, and there's so much to explore there. But I'm giving this book a C- because I feel like as the story goes on, that gets very lost, and it goes from the story about these two women who have had, their roses stolen from them and have been consumed by thorns, to this cautionary tale of, oh, you can't try to take any power for yourself, and oh, you may be ugly now, but that's okay, your beauty will come back to you later, and everything's going to work out for you because you are beautiful and because the prophecy told you so. And it was very irritating, and it actually made me very angry. And as far as fairy tales go, that is very classic and traditional fairy tale, but this, this time of age, in 2019, I wish that we could have had just something a little bit meatier, a little bit of a better story to latch onto here. So it's just very frustrating. I don't really know if I would recommend this book. I do think that it's very magical, and I think the world building was done very well. I think the magic system was done very interestingly, and the beginning of this book, I do think the first part of this book is done very well. It isn't really until you get into part 2 and then things get a little bit weird that things kind of start to fall apart for me. And then in part 3, I just felt like we were being done a disservice by this author, and I shouldn't have been surprised because I have read some of A.G. Howard's other books and I didn't really like them, especially as the stories went on, so I should have expected this coming, but I unfortunately didn't. There are still some really interesting things here. I do really like the idea of the sun and moon coming back together, and I do really like the way that the prophecy, they try to thwart the prophecy, but it has a way of coming true anyway, and the way that that happens is really romantic and really awesome, and I really, really love that. But when it comes to all of this feminine trauma, and when it comes to these ideas about beauty, it felt very outdated, and I wish that it just could have been a little bit more. I feel like we need to step up a little bit in 2019. So would I recommend this book? I honestly don't know. It's getting a C- from me though, and I am glad that I read it. I think I would have always been curious about this book, but I'm also very glad to be done with it. But anyway, thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you liked it, be sure to hit that like button down below, and don't forget to subscribe so you can talk books with me every week. That is everything got for today, and I will see you guys next time. Bye!